Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of the podcast. It's great to have you here. I thought for today I would share a live video that I did with Jari Roomer of Right Bill's Scale. Yari and I recorded this conversation a few days ago, and I thought it was really good value. It was a good conversation, and I think you'll find it useful if you're wanting to find out ways to collaborate on Substack in 2026, which is really what the conversation was all about. So, I thought for today I would reshare that live video with you all in this podcast. Yari is also going to talk a little bit in the video about a Right Bill Scale masterclass, which by the time of you listen to this episode will already have passed. You might have attended the masterclass, which is great, and they might have some products that were linked to that masterclass as well, available now for a limited time for a discounted price. So, if you were there in the masterclass and they talked about any kind of product, I think it should still be available by the time this podcast episode goes out. So definitely check it out while it's still there. But other than that, enjoy the episode, enjoy this chat with my friend Yari. I hope you find it useful. And yeah, let's just dive right in.
David, welcome. Looking forward to doing this Substack live with you. How are you?
I'm good, Yara. I'm good. It's always good to see you again on here. And yes, I someone from the UK, tea is a big factor for us, so it's always good to see someone else drinking it.
I'm actually a big coffee drinker, but I'm not gonna drink coffee at 7 p.m. in the evening. That won't benefit my sleep. So a cup of tea it is.
Good idea.
So today in the live stream, we're gonna talk all about the number one growth strategy on Substack, which, in my experience, is collaborations. Not sure if you agree, David. Maybe you have a different growth strategy that is your favorite. But if I had to pick one to really focus on, especially I would say if you're starting out and you have the content game under control, you're posting consistently, I would really focus on collaborations as soon as possible, right? Because yes, if you're publishing consistently, that is amazing. That's really good. That is the foundation of it all. But you run the risk of like just posting in the void, right? With no one seeing your work. And I think collaborations is actually one of the ways to get in front of new audiences and also make Substack a more fun journey. Now, David, I know you are actually pretty big on collaborations, right? You seem to be doing collaborations all the time. What's your take on collaborating on Substack?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said, Yari. I think it's a major growth lever. I think it always has been on Substack, and it's becoming more important than ever, I think, at this point. I've always used collaboration to grow my audience, to get to know my audience better, to connect with other people's audiences as well. So I'm always encouraging anyone I work with, anyone I speak to explore how they can collaborate in a way that they're used to and that they would enjoy. That might be text, it might be on live like this, it might be on a podcast, whatever. But yeah, collaboration is definitely super key.
What is your favorite way actually to collaborate on Substack? Because there's, like you said, a bunch of different ways, right? There's live streaming like this, there's podcasting, guest posting, newsletter recommendations. If you had to pick one that is your ultimate favorite, which one is it?
I love this kind of thing. I love just going live on Substack or on a podcast potentially, because I think the best stuff comes out whenever you're just doing it on the fly, like this, when it's not like majorly. Sorry, my screen turned off. It's not majorly scripted and that kind of thing. Like as you said, things happen in the background of this that we don't prepare for. I think it's so much better for building your personal brand to help your audience understand that you're a real human being as well, because they see your face, they hear your voice. Things go wrong, and that's very human. So, yeah, I love doing video. I love doing live stuff like this.
I have to agree with you. I think doing Substack Lives is one of my favorite ways to interact with our audience, but also to collaborate, right? Like the both of us, we now have brought our audiences to this live stream, which is a good way to get your message in front of new people, but it's also just a lot of fun. And I think when people get to see you as you really are, there's no editing, right? You might make some mistakes. They really get to see you who you really are. I think that builds a very powerful connection. Maybe some people might not like it, but that's fine, right? That it's also a good sign. I think the people who do and who do feel like they resonate with you, this is really a way to turn, maybe readers into actual like super fans or even clients and customers.
Yeah.
So aside from the live streams, what other collaboration features are you personally really focused on in your Substack?
Mm. I think something I'm not as focused on as much right now, but I think it's definitely a good idea for anybody to try is guest posting. So, I the first year that I was on Substack, I had a lot of collaborators contribute guest posts to my publication, which was great because it helped me get more perspectives into my publication, helped to get more voices there. It brought in new subscribers for me. I think it brought in new subscribers for them as well. And I just got more content onto my publication in general as well. So if you're struggling with producing what you might feel is enough content for your publication to be of high enough value for your audience, consider bringing in some guest posters to share their thoughts on topics as well. It definitely does massively, massively help time wise and just for spreading the workload a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. Also, because imagine, right, someone else has a newsletter with hundreds or maybe thousands of subscribers, and the exact audience that you're looking to reach. Guest post is the most direct way to get in front of all of those people, right? It directly goes into their email inbox. And especially if you put like time and effort into that piece, it will make an impression, right? It's beneficial for the readers of that publication. It's beneficial for the publication owner because now you're actually creating valuable work for them. And
Mm.
it's beneficial for you because you will likely gain a lot of new readers that way. So I think guest posting is a really good strategy. I would say when you start guest posting or approach people for a guest post, it's important to really think about the other person, right? What's in it for them. So don't go in any of these collaborations with like, what can I take? Like, how can I win? But really have this win-win perspective.
Mm.
And what usually works best is that you already have a little bit of a connection going on with that person, which could mean you've just engaged with each other's notes a little bit already. That they kind of know who you are. They've seen your name already a few times. Then you can always reach out directly on Substack. I would just send a DM and I would like explain who you are, what you do, and already suggest like a few specific topics that you could write about, the very specific content ideas that you could write for them. Or first go and ask like, hey, what would actually be most like valuable for you and your audience? But the more specific you are in your messaging and not just saying like, can I write a guest post for you, which is a bit abstract, right? Already make sure you are really making it as easy as possible for the other person to say yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was speaking to someone about guest posts actually just before this, and I think a really
Mm.
key thing about guest posts is that they're evergreen as well. So you might write something now, and you might not see an awful lot of traction from it initially, but maybe 6 months down the line, somebody finds something you've written for somebody else's publication, and they find your name, and then they come across you, and maybe at that point you have a really great offer in place, and you're ready to go, and that person finds you just the right time. So, the more guest posts you can write, the more stuff you put out there longer term, a bit like YouTube in that sense. It creates more pathways for people to find you in future. So they're great for that. They're great long term prospects for bringing in more audience members.
I see that we're almost at 100 people joining us here live. Welcome, everyone. Great to see you all. I will take this opportunity to share a link to our upcoming Substack masterclass that at Right Build Skill we are hosting this Thursday. And David is one of our amazing partners helping us promote the masterclass. So if you're looking to grow your audience, grow your income on Substack, specifically this year, 2026, right? If it's on your list of goals for the year, I would highly recommend signing up for the masterclass. It's completely free. It's
Mm.
Thursday, 7 p.m. Central European time. If you cannot make it live, still sign up because then you'll get the replay sent to your email inbox. So I just shared the special link. That's David's link. So definitely make use of that, or you can always send David a direct message on Substack as well if you want to
Mm.
join. I would also say if you have any questions for David or for me, feel free to post them here in the chat. We would love to make this more interactive, not just us talking the whole time. But so if you have any questions, feel free to just drop them in the chat.
Can I ask you a question, Yara? Is that okay?
Of course, of course.
About your about your webinar on Thursday about your session. Is it for people who are just starting out on Substack, or is it for people who've been on Substack for a while? Who's your kind of ideal person to join that?
It's specifically, I would say, for everyone who currently is like, okay, I want to take Substack seriously, right? I see the potential of Substack in 2026 and I want to take this seriously. So maybe you're brand new, maybe you've just joined over the past few weeks, right? Then I would say it's a perfect fit for you. But also, if you have been on the platform maybe for the whole of 2025 already, but you have been frustrated with your growth, maybe you haven't been growing as fast as you wanted to, maybe you haven't been growing your list of paid subscribers as fast as if that you wanted to, I would also recommend joining because we will be sharing a lot of strategies specifically for 2026 that are like up to date for the current situation here on Substack. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And can people ask questions at the end of the masterclass as well?
Yes, yes. So at the end, so Sinem will actually be doing the presentation. That's usually like an hour, and then afterwards I'll be hopping on for the Q&A as well, where every question we will make sure to answer that live there as well. Yes, for sure.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks for asking, David.
No problem.
So one other collaboration strategy I would like to talk about is actually newsletter recommendations. At Right Build Skill, we have focused quite a lot on this to approach a lot of other creators in our niche and to really suggest this newsletter recommendation exchange. And this was actually one of the more powerful growth methods that we have discovered. And what I love about newsletter recommendations is that it's like set it and forget it. You only have to set it up once. Like you literally press a button, I am recommending this publication. The other publication is doing the same, right? Recommending your publication, and it's hands off. You don't have to touch it anymore. And that brought us in like over 8,000 subscribers in 2025 alone. But it's only like I said, one push of a button, and then that's it, really. So it's super powerful.
Mm.
How are you leveraging newsletter recommendations, David? Is it something you actively focus on? Is it something you just do from time to time?
Yeah.
Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I've been doing recommendations for a long time. I think it's been a major growth lever for me on Substack. I've got a lot of subscribers from that. I want to kind of tell you actually just right now as I'm talking to you how many I've received from it. Anyway, I'll find out during the next part of this conversation. But yeah, recommendations are so powerful. As Yari said, they are very much kind of set it and forget it. Click it once, then it works away in the background for you as well. And yeah, it's a great way to help other people on Substack. If there's somebody else who's in maybe your niche or your community and you have a kind of shared audience, bit of an overlap there, it's a natural fit to kind of support each other in that way without having to put in any extra work or any extra effort. Yeah, recommendations are such an overlooked thing, and I think Substack's one of the few platforms where they work really effectively. Obviously, other platforms can do it as well, but Substack seems to be the one that it just is a natural fit for, and it just flows so smoothly. So yeah, definitely consider using it.
Yeah, that's actually interesting that you said that because a lot of other platforms like Git, for example, has their creator network as well. But I found that Substack's recommendation feature actually is far more effective. It seems to be doing a way better job at it. And I would
Yeah.
say to a lot of people who I know that people are interested in getting more of these recommendations, but then they might hesitate actually reaching out. Usually that has something to do with limiting beliefs, or maybe you fear that the other person is going to say no, like maybe fearing a bit of rejection, which is completely normal. I would really suggest like it's a win-win scenario, right? So most other Substack creators will say yes, as long as like your publication is worth recommending, which means you have solid content, right? You are showing up consistently, you have valuable content. Um, then it's like a win-win scenario because there's no such thing as having too many recommendations because Substack's recommendation feature switches through like uh, how many newsletters it recommends like on autopilot. So even if you have like if you're recommending 200 newsletters, new subscribers won't see that. They won't see like, oh, I now have to sign up to these 200 newsletters as well. Substack just picks five out of them and it rotates. So I would really suggest approach as many creators as possible that you truly feel like I want my audience to read this, like, and I feel like I have a connection with them. Then just go for it, right? Because if it's a no, it's a no. It's already a no in the status that it's right now. But if you get a yes, then it might bring you like hundreds of subscribers over the next few months.
Yeah, I think it's a natural next step in a relationship with somebody else on Substack. If you got to know them as a friend and you've maybe worked with them before, network with them, maybe done a live together, I think the natural next question is, do you want to recommend each other's publications? It's kind of like going steady, isn't it, on Substack? But it definitely helps, and it just shows the other person that you're saying to them, your publication has value. I see it as being worthwhile, I'm going to kind of, support you in that way. So yeah, definitely start small, start with friends. And then as Yari said, start to kind of expand your network, reach out to people. If you hear a no, it's just the same as not reaching out at all. So give it a go.
I see we have a question from Chris Antonelli in the chat. I started in late October and I love it here. Notes seem like mostly all other creators. I love creators, but does it hurt your reach if they don't read your emails?
Mm,
So I'm not sure if I understand the question 100%, but I am interpret it in a way that you write notes, right? But maybe in notes, there's a lot of other creators who are reading and engaging with those notes. They might not subscribe potentially to your publication. Um, I would say that it's actually a bit of like how do you call it, survivorship bias. So the people you see are creators, but there's so many people just lurking through notes, just scrolling through the notes feed without ever publishing a note themselves. Um, so yes, the people you see are creators, right? But the people you don't see who are actually like reading your work, maybe not even leaving a like most people that will see your note and actually enjoy your note won't even press that like button. That's very important to imprint in your brain because it can sometimes hurt, right? When you post something valuable and it gets one like and you're like, oh, only one person enjoyed this. No, it's very likely that a bunch of other people thought, hey, this was great. This was inspiring. This was helpful, whatever. And they just didn't press the like button because they just don't do that. That's actually the majority of people.
mm,
But again, you don't see them or hear from them necessarily. But especially when you publish notes consistently over time, that leaves an impression, right? That builds a connection with people. It might take people a few days, few weeks of seeing your notes before they hit that subscribe button. So by
yeah,
all means, keep doing it.
yeah. I'd also say as well, be that person on the other end of the screen who, as you scroll on Substack, make sure you like people's stuff as well, because it does give someone a bit of a boost. It helps them just feel like what they're saying is worthwhile, even if most people aren't going to like it. So be the person who does liberally share likes as much as you can, and support other people, because it's free to give that kind of support away.
Absolutely. I
Mm.
see we have another question from Eric. How to kindly ask others to recommend you. What's your take on that, David?
Yeah, I think what you said before, Yara, just about reaching out via DM in a kind way and just being polite about it, and be very personal as well. So don't just kind of blanket, send out emails or DMs to everybody, but just use their name, talk about what you like about their publication, make it very specific to them. Take the time and effort to write something that's just for them, and just be very open to it. Make it clear that if they say no, that's fine, and if they say yes, that's great. And also give them another option, so they might not be able to recommend you, because sometimes people have like a limit. They only want to recommend a certain number for themselves personally. But you could maybe say, if I can't recommend you, you can recommend me. How about I write a guest post? How about we go live on Substack? Is there anything else I can do to support you as well? So give them that other option as well, just in case, so that maybe you hear fewer no's and more other options instead.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And actually, while you were saying that, what came to my mind is that one connection can and I think should have multiple formats of collaborating, right? So you might go in suggesting a newsletter recommendation exchange. That might be a yes, that might be a no, but it could also now, like David said, be a guest post. It could be that you do a live stream with them. It could be that you just say, hey, you know what? Let's just engage with each other's notes a little bit more than usual. Let's support each other. Let's help each other out, increase visibility for each other, right? That's a way you can collaborate. Maybe they have a podcast. You can jump on their podcast. And I just love it when that's also why I love having a podcast. And I think I can't speak for you, David, but I think you have the same experience. Is it's such an easy way to connect with new people, new creators that you haven't connected with before, because a podcast is an easy yes. And then once they've been on your podcast, now you do something else with them as well, right? That one collaboration turns into multiple collaborations. So
Yeah,
always treat it with that perspective in mind as well.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I find that personally as well, that podcasting is such a good way for you as the creator to get answers to the questions that you have, and then for your audience through that process of just listening to you having a conversation with somebody else to get a lot of value themselves and get a bit of education, and they're just fun as well. Like I've made just really good friends through doing podcasts with people. Like Gary's a good friend of mine now, and he came on my podcast a while ago. I think we done more than one episode together. And it's just a great way to deepen your connections. So if you're thinking about podcasting, definitely look at how you might add that into your ecosystem on Substack. Are you guys, Yari, on the masterclass going to talk about collaborations a little bit? Are you going to talk about how to do recommendations and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, collaborations is going to be one of the strategies we'll be sharing. Yeah, because it's such an essential strategy, in my opinion, for Substack. And um, it's something that I really had to get used to myself, coming from Medium, which is just you write and then the algorithm will either push it out or not. And which is basically an introvert's dream, right? I would say I'm an introvert, but unfortunately, Medium, the golden era is over there. I will admit that, and Substack is really the place to be. But Substack is way more built on collaboration. So yeah, as an introvert in the beginning, I had to like get used to that, to like reach out to people and like work together. But then I was like, oh, but actually, it's a lot of fun, especially with the right people, right? Like, for example, you and I, David, like the 2, 3 minutes we spent before this live stream, we didn't talk about work. We talked about Liverpool. We talked about fun stuff. We talked about football, right? It's like you're genuinely making friends on the platform
Mm,
and you help each other grow, but it makes the whole process a lot more fun compared to just taking the solo approach, just doing everything yourself, just having even just one person, one other creator that you can connect with, you can share strategies, you can keep each other accountable, motivated, inspired, makes such a big difference. So I would really encourage people to um yeah, really focus on collaborating with others for sure.
yeah, it definitely makes things like going live in Substack a lot easier as well. If you're nervous about going live and you don't want to just be there by yourself, having to talk to kind of nobody in some respects. It's great to have somebody else there, even more than one person who can kind of bounce ideas and questions off like this, like we're doing now. It makes it go so much faster. It feels so much more natural, and yeah, especially if you're an introvert, it's nice to be able to ask somebody else a question and then just kind of sit back a little bit and let them talk for a bit while you kind of prepare yourself for the next bit of talking that you have to do. But yeah, I love Substack Lives. I think that's such a powerful, powerful way to collaborate with other people, and it has genuine real time implications for your size of your audience because you get more subscribers after you do these kind of things. It gives you more content for your publication because you can reshare these replays later, and it gives you a whole bunch of AI generated clips that you can share onto notes as well. So they are very, very worthwhile if you want to consider doing these as part of a collaboration approach in future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say when it comes to live streaming as well as podcasting, right? Maybe you hear us talk about this and maybe you're a little bit intimidated by doing your first live or recording your first podcast, and know that that's completely okay. Like the first time when I did a Substack live together with Philip, my business partner, I was nervous for it, right? I've never done that before. I remember my audio was even cutting out at moments, and it was pretty stressful. But it was like a skill that you learn, and you get better at it over time. You become more comfortable with it over time.
Mm,
Same thing goes for a podcast. I think I recorded the very first podcast episode for Right Build Skill with you, actually, David.
mm,
And looking back at it, like we're now 22 episodes further along, and I'm like, oh, I'm way more comfortable.
mm.
I would say better podcaster than I was back then. So it's just a skill that you learn and that you become more comfortable with. So
Mm.
just do
Yeah,
it. Just get started with it. That's the only way you're gonna truly learn.
yeah. Practice makes perfect. Just think of it as a muscle that you're working. And the more you do it, like I look back at the early videos I did, and they're not terrible, but I'm definitely a lot better now than I was then. I'm a lot more confident, more comfortable. I couldn't have done this kind of thing that we're doing right now, like a year or two ago. I would have been really, really awkward about it and
Mm.
wouldn't have known how to do it. But now it's very, very easy. So, practice makes perfect, and that goes as well for reaching out to people for recommendations. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. So Substack gives you a great opportunity to get those reps in. So do as much as you can.
I see we have a question from Tanya. Do you put your life behind the paywall after you do them with an article and bonuses? How much free do you give? How do you approach that, David?
My lives have always been free because I mean they're free whenever I do them. I always want to do them for free subscribers because I want to get as many eyeballs and ears on the conversation at the time. Obviously, I can do ones for paid subscribers only, but if it's this kind of thing where I'm speaking to you, Yari, or to somebody else, I like to get as much of an audience spread as possible. So I don't paywall lives unless they are specifically for my paid members.
Yeah, same. I would say almost all of our lives are completely free because of that same objective, getting as many people in the virtual room as possible. Um, we do often upload the replay, not of all live streams, but the occasional live stream. We upload the replay like a day later or a few days later, usually also with a written summary attached to it as a post so that people can choose to either watch the replay or just read the text summary as well, but that is also completely free. I think with a live stream it's really the goal, at least for us, is really to connect with the audience, right? And that's why we want to have as many people as possible on the live. If it's more like a group coaching thing, that would always be in like separate in our community, and that would be done over Zoom so that everyone can have their camera on and share their screen and that type of stuff. We can go deeper. That's a different setting.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think we have a few more questions. Tanya
I,
has a follow-up question. Do you put them on YouTube and use the linking feature?
yeah, I was going to respond to that one actually. I'll just reply to Pete Murphy there as well. Tell him to get out of this conversation. He shouldn't be here. Only joking, Pete. No, Tanya. Yeah. For me personally, I do share my live recordings and my podcast recordings now as well onto YouTube because it's just a simple way to get more content out there. And again, YouTube is evergreen, so you may as well. If it's free here and it's for everybody, then just put it on YouTube as well. I do super minimal editing. It's really really simple. I'm probably a really bad person to take advice from when it comes to YouTube. I know that Yari and Philip and Sinham do a far better job with their YouTube channel and their well, than I do. I'm very lazy with mine. But if you have content that you've recorded on Substack, definitely put it on YouTube as well, and just get more eyes on it.
Yeah, we do the same for our podcast. Every podcast episode is recorded with the video as well, and that's then uploaded to YouTube. Just for also for search purposes, right? YouTube is a very good search engine, so for us, if we post something with Substack in the title, it tends to get search traffic through YouTube. So it's a different way to basically get more traffic using the same content you've already created.
Yeah.
Natalie says, great live and thank you for taking the time to share tips. Thank you, Natalie. Appreciate it. And Ruth asks a question. Is it okay to recommend without giving a reason, or is it better to state why you are recommending a newsletter? What's your thought about that?
Good question. I think yeah. I mean, you can just recommend somebody without giving a reason, but if you can take a second to write a sentence just to say why you like the publication, it's just a nice thing to do. I guess it's nice for the person who you're recommending, and does help your audience understand how it's a good fit for them as well. So, yeah, if you're recommending somebody, and again, I'm being hypocritical here because I'm not sure I've done that in the past. But yeah, take a minute, write a sentence, tell your audience why it's a good thing that they should subscribe to that as well, and yeah, that will help.
I'm just sharing the link again to the masterclass we have coming up on Thursday. On Thursday, we will host an How to Grow Your Audience and Income masterclass. It's completely free to sign up. The link is here in the chat. It is a special link from David because David is one of our awesome partners helping us promote this masterclass. It will be on 7 p.m. Central European time on Thursday. If you cannot make it live, still sign up for it so you get the replay sent to your email inbox as well. You can always send David a message as well if you cannot find the link. I see we have another good question from Letitia. How do you guys feel about AI and writing on Substack, and which agent is better? How do you feel about that, David?
I'm comfortable with AI. I do use it for planning and for structuring and brainstorming and things like that. Um, in terms of agents, I used to use ChatGPT and now I use Claude more. I think Claude is slightly better than ChatGPT. And even the free version of Claude seems to be better than the paid version of ChatGPT. That's my personal opinion on that. I don't know if that's actually a fact. But yeah, I use it every day, but I'm trying to move away from using it too much if I can help it, because I do think that longer term, you're going to stand out more, I think, on Substack and just as a writer in general, if you can not use it as much, because we do all tend to sound very samey. You can tell when someone's used AI now very easily because of the words and phrases that they use. So I think simplest way to stand out going forward is just to use it less if you can help it, but try and use it as a tool rather than a crutch as a writer. What do you think, Gary?
I think that's a great point. The way what you just said, use it as a tool, right? I think a lot of people might use AI in a very lazy way. So like, you know what? I don't know what Substack notes to write. ChatGPT, write 30 notes for me, right? And it's gonna be incredibly generic. Or like, I don't know what to post this week. Write a post on X, Y, and Z, and please do it for me. Again, like you'll have those very cliche AI sentences. And when I read those cliches, like uh, from time to time, it's fine if it's in an article. But if it's filled with it, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to read this because it's so AI generated.
Mm,
So use it as a tool, right? The way I use AI in my writing process is I actually record a voice memo, usually of like 30 minutes, in which I speak out all of my thoughts about the article that I want to write. So it's a 30-minute voice memo. Usually that's like 8,000 words if you like were to transcribe it, where I just blur out every thought I have about that article and personal stories related to it and examples related to it, the real case studies related to it. And then I basically use AI as my ghostwriter, right? Because the actual process of writing and editing to me is not even the most enjoyable process. I enjoy getting the message out there. I enjoy making sure someone who reads the article is actually like able to go from A to B, right? Or that they're inspired or that they learn something new.
mm,
um, the actual writing in and of itself as a process, I find it somewhat enjoyable, but not like super enjoyable. So to have AI as a ghostwriter in that sense is very helpful, but it can draw from the 8,000 word voice memo that I just like shared myself. And then that way the story is my story and it feels like me, right? And it's my language used. Um, I think that really helped for me to use it in that way, to see it more like a tool, like a ghostwriter, and not like, hey, please do the work for me, you know?
yeah, I think a real way to kind of ensure that the stuff you put out sounds like you and really is your message is always to kind of weave story into your stuff as much as possible. Like I talk about this all the time. Uh, the coaching clients that I have are probably sick of me saying this to them, but I think if you can weave story into your articles, start with the story and then move into a teaching point. It's the one thing that AI it can replicate, but it's not going to be very good at it. And if you can tell a story in your voice, in your way, in the only way that you understand, it's going to come across so much more powerfully, more effectively than if you just get AI to script the entire thing right from the start. So, yeah, very, very much story is the key to retaining your voice and to ensuring that people will remember your message beyond reading your article or listening to your episode.
Yeah, totally agree. I would also say it's also why I am all for adding a different media component to your Substack as well, whether that is a podcast, whether that is videos, whether it is a live stream, just so you always stand out as an individual. Because it yeah, with writing, that is more difficult to do, especially if you use AI. There will always be some AI tells in any article, I would say. So
Mhm.
having the other like video, podcasting, live streaming on top of that as well, in addition to, I think that makes for a very good combination, especially 2026 and moving forward.
Yeah, for sure.
I see we have a question from Sumia. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. How important is a consistent publishing schedule? And what are the trade offs between producing high quality long form content versus more frequent, smaller posts? What do you think about that, David?
So I think it's a great question. Yeah, I think excuse me, my voice is not going to, and I'm speaking about GR. Um, yeah, with your honey in your teacup. I think that again, going back to that idea of getting your reps in, I think publishing in a regular rhythm, it really helps you just kind of stay on track. It's very, very hard to stay consistent as a writer if you are kind of all over the place. If you only kind of write whenever you feel like it, I think as a writer, it's really important to kind of occasionally push yourself into places where you do have to write just to kind of stay on a rhythm that your body and your mind are used to. It's also really good for your audience as well if they know when to expect to content or articles or podcast episodes or whatever to arrive in their inbox from you, because they'll start to expect it. They'll start to look for it actively, and if they're looking for it already, you've kind of already overcome half the battle at that point. You're already having an audience who are looking for you rather than you having to try and get stuff in front of them, just trying to interrupt their day. So I think if you can find a rhythm that works for you, that doesn't overwhelm you, and then try and maintain it, even for a period of time, just set yourself a target. I'm going to write this many articles a week for a month or for a quarter, and then evaluate it at the end and see, did that suit me? Did my audience like that? Did that overwhelm me in any way? Did I see the benefit of doing that? And then you can reevaluate and adjust and then take it forward.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I would also say, and maybe you're already doing this, Sumia, but in when it comes to like more frequent smaller posts, my brain automatically went through notes. Like it's your long form post, right? You want to make sure that that is very in depth and you're producing high quality work. But for those shorter thoughts, shorter snippets, quick how tos, an insight you want to share, definitely use notes for it, right? And yes, some notes are just one sentence or a few sentences, but you can actually write slightly longer than usual notes. I've done that a few times and they gotten quite some good engagement as well. So it's almost like a small post in that sense. So I like to see like your long form post is the main meal and a Substack note is like a snack or like an appetizer, right? So you could use notes in that sense as well. Like I said, maybe you're already doing this, but if you have something you just want to get out there, a quick message, something you just learned, something you just want to share, use notes for that more than your long form posts, I would say.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. I also think as well, don't be afraid to take snippets from your long form articles and just use them as notes. Take a line and just post it as a note or share it as a restack. It's just simple way to get some more content onto the feed and to save yourself some time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I see we have a follow-up question on from Julie. Do you share the transcript of the voice memo? So yeah, for everyone who just joined us, so this question relates to the fact that I record a voice memo of my everything that I want to include in an article, and that's what I then share with Claude or ChatGPT, for example, to help me ghostwrite an article. And yes, I would always turn the voice memo into a transcript first. So, and then the transcript is what I actually share with the AI tool. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's how I approach it. One other way, if for example we do a live stream like this, and I want to use AI to write a summary for me, then basically the replay will automatically be posted to your drafts, right? And you can click on like the settings of the video, and then you can download the transcript of your video, and that it would be something that I actually then share with an AI tool to help me write a summary of this 45-minute live stream, right? Because like to now go and manually type all of that out while we've already been speaking here live doesn't make any sense, I would say, time wise.
Yeah, summaries are one of the best things you can do with AI, because summaries kind of suck when you have to do them yourself because they're so time consuming. And I know that AI is able to pick things out better than we are from a conversation, summarize it better. So I definitely use it for that all the time.
We have another question from Tanya. Do you do a lot of linking different posts together like you would do when you blog, and do have a lot of backlinking? Also, I think this is the second question. How many free do you currently have? The full article free, but then I put a paywall for the strategy and bonuses and other things. I would say let's tackle your first question um, first. So, David, do you do a lot of like when you post something, you have your long form post, do you link to a lot of your previous posts? Like, do you create some sort of like web basically, like with a blog?
I think a good sort of rule of thumb is to have as few links as possible in an article because you want to push someone towards one main action, whatever that is, if it's upgrading or if it's buying a digital product or signing up for something. So um the one thing I would do is if it's part of like a mini series that I'm doing, I will link back to the previous posts in the series at the start of the post. And I always have a table of contents posted at the bottom of every single article that will send people back to where all my content essentially is. Just to kind of keep them within my ecosphere on Substack. It's the same with YouTube. You always have like a couple of suggested next videos on YouTube and keep people on your channel as long as possible. So yes, I would link to other pieces, but I would use it sparingly and try and do it in a way that's very, very targeted.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I think if you share a lot of links in a post, like you might send your audience sideways from post to post, but rather look at your post and see it as a ladder. How can I get someone to take the next step, like the higher step up? Which means that maybe, let's say you write an article that shares basic tips. Okay, the next step you want them to take is to go to the article with the advanced tips, for example. Or
Mm,
it could be that the next step you want them to take is maybe to sign up for something, or to sign up for a webinar, or to maybe, if they are interested in coaching, they apply a form so that they can apply for coaching, right? So always think of your article like a ladder. What's the next step I want them to take in this customer journey, rather than a bunch of sideways
mm,
steps, which also becomes confusing for your reader.
mm.
We've already been going on for 45 minutes, so we almost arrived at the end of the live stream. Time flies when you're having fun. I will just share the link to Thursday's webinar once again because we already have more than 200 people live here with us today. That's amazing. Thank you all for posting your questions. Really appreciate it. On Thursday at Right Build Skill, we have a Substack masterclass on how to grow your audience and income on Substack in 2026. And David, our amazing partner, is helping us promote this. So if you want to sign up for the masterclass, please use his link or send David a DM. It's completely free.
Yep.
Let's see. Have you spotted any other final question we can tackle in the chat, David?
So Letitia asked about the best time to post on Substack for engagement, and I think Nikki helpfully responded to it and shared her thoughts on it. Um, for me, I just tend to post around the same time every day. I post in the morning, my time, which is probably the middle of the night in the US. So it's probably not the best time to do it because half my audience is in America. But I have just found that it's just better to be consistent. So I would rather get the post out early in the day in my time so that if there are any responses to it, or if I want to monitor how it's doing, I can do that during the day. I'm not going to miss anything during the night. So I think it's better to just, no matter what you do, just do it at the same time every day if you can, so that your audience get again accustomed to when it's going to arrive.
I see one last question that we can tackle from Natalie. Would you recommend using Pinterest through which to drive traffic to your Substack? So, Natalie, my personal opinion is to focus on all the growth features Substack has to offer first, and then you look at external platforms to drive traffic to your Substack. And unless you already have a very successful and thriving Pinterest account, then it's a different story. But if that's not the case, what you're going to do is basically you'll have to learn two platforms. You have to learn Substack and Pinterest. So that's kind of an uphill battle. It's playing it on difficult mode. Rather, I would say if you don't have that like Pinterest account yet, a successful Pinterest account, just focus on Substack for now, because there's thousands and thousands and thousands of subscribers you can gain just from Substack alone, right? Through what we just talked about, recommendations, through notes, through guest posting, live streaming, podcasting. And that way you can really master Substack, right? Learn one platform really, really well, understand the culture there really well, the features really well. That's going to do far more for you than like taking on Pinterest as well, maybe taking on LinkedIn as well, taking on another platform, and then you're only spreading your time and energy too thin. What's your take on that, David?
Yeah, I think unless, as you said, Yari, the main thing there is unless your presence on Pinterest is already substantial or on any other platform, it's better just to focus on one at a time. And I personally think Substack is the best one to be on right now. I'm not just saying that because we're on Substack at this moment, but it's definitely it seems to do everything that we need it to do at the minute. So it's definitely a good place to be.